Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. Welcome to 2025 and welcome to M1 Racing as we continue our live coverage of Season 4 of the G-Force Racing League. My name is Mark. I'm going to be with you for the next hour and a half or so as we look to start the second half of Season 4 of the G-Force Racing League from Singapore. We've got a lot of catching up to do. I think I'm going to be joined by a couple of people in the commentary box, hopefully today, if time allows. And we're going to give you as much of the best action as we possibly can from this race. But we've got a lot to get through, and I want to bring you up to speed on what M. Dorling thinks about the second half of the season and our last race out with the G-Force Racing folks just before Christmas. So without any further ado, we'll head over to Dorling's GFR Digest before we return here, and we'll look ahead to the Singapore Grand Prix. So over to Matt Dorling and his Dorling's Digest.
Dorling's GFR Digest.
After a well-deserved break for Christmas, GFR returns for another night race, this time the Singapore Grand Prix. Another circuit that will present our drivers with little room for error, with the surrounding walls appearing closer and closer as the laps tick on by. The Singapore Grand Prix is sure to be yet another thriller here in the G-Force Racing League, and we wish all of our drivers the best of luck for tonight's race. Goat had a much-needed turn of form during qualifying for the Belgium Grand Prix, with third on the starting grid. We unfortunately did not get much further than turn 1 in the race to see what Goat had to offer as he suffered an unfortunate DNF. With Goat now quite clearly getting to grips with his new wheel setup, we suspect he will once again return as a firm favourite for the Singapore Grand Prix.
M&D Hammer.
M&D Hammer, by the strong standards he has been setting of late, had a relatively average race last time out in Belgium. However, they still finished in a point-scoring position to ultimately make the best of what seemed to be an off week. With Singapore being tight and twisty in nature, maybe this circuit will be better suited to M&D Hammer. Deserves once again put in a stellar qualifying performance at our last race, showing again his capability to race at the sharp end of the grid before an unfortunate disconnection issue forced a retirement. I have a feeling that the festive period for a bit of a reset for this driver, along with plenty of practice, will only make Deserves stronger in his quest to hunt down Goat for the driver's title. Obo enjoyed a stunning race last time out in Belgium, producing a well-deserved podium finish for his Aston Martin team, with very strong race pace and bringing the car home with no time penalties in a race full of drama. Obo, like Goat Ghosty, certainly seems to be getting to grips with his wheel after switching from controller, and we'll look forward to seeing what he can do at Singapore. M. Dorling had somewhat of a disaster last time out in Belgium, struggling to find an optimal setup for the race, coupled with a poor qualifying effort. This driver started on the back foot from the word go. An unfortunate collision after turn 1 with Monty, alongside a safety car Delta infringement, one to forget for Dorling. Let's see if Singapore can see a return to form later today. SS7 had a very decent race at the Belgium Grand Prix, with an unfortunate time penalty seeing him finish in 4th and just off the podium. I believe Singapore will be a much better match for SS7 with its tight and twisty nature, suiting SS7's skills and talents of car control under pressure, and in between these unforgiving walls. Daddy Tonk once again moves further up the grid as each race passes by, with a strong P8 points finishing position in Belgium. With a clear upward trend, this driver is building momentum in what is their first season with us here at GFR. Practice will be needed for the Singapore Grand Prix, but we have no doubt this driver has been putting in the hours to ready themselves for what is no doubt going to be one of the more difficult races of the season. With Belgium being fairly unique on this F124 game in the way their aero works, Emile seemed to struggle somewhat last time out. As mentioned previously, Singapore will present a much different challenge in terms of wing level compared to Belgium, and I feel this will aid Emile in his quest to move further back up the grid. I can't wait to see what this driver can do later today. Van Keudelik, as was the case with a few of our other drivers in Belgium, seemed to struggle somewhat. However, they still finished in a point-scoring position, which may prove crucial come the end of the season when it's all tallied up. Again, with Singapore presenting a much different challenge, I feel this driver may well find themselves once again in contention for the podium positions on a track that allows for much more downforce than that of Belgium. Matthew has seemingly signed up to race with us here at GFR once more, so we hope he can join us out on track tonight at Singapore. Wishing him a good race and hope he can join us for many more races to come in the future. Mac T is very quickly moving his way up the leaderboard. After missing a few races at the start of the season due to outside commitments, this driver has relentless speed and a keen eye for strategy, and I feel he will be a favourite for the win later tonight. Jaguar Paul once more enjoyed a very strong race last time out. The driver is showing he means business and will be a strong bet for a podium finish at Singapore. Hannes was going strong at Belgium until an unfortunate incident caused them to fall down the finishing order slightly. This driver is proving that they have the speed to fight for the podium at each event, and we once again look forward to seeing what they can do around the streets of Singapore. KKE seemed to struggle slightly last time out in Belgium, possibly the track not best suiting this driver. As with some of our other drivers, I feel Singapore will be a much happier hunting ground for KKE, and I would even have a hunch for this driver to be in contention for a top 3 finishing position.
Top 1998.
Belgium was Tom's first race here with us at GFR. Not only did this driver place his car on pole, he stormed to a first win also. This driver really highlights the level of competitiveness we now have here at GFR, and we look forward to seeing what Tom can do later today at a much different circuit. I feel he will be odds on for win number 2. Gareza is another new driver to GFR alongside Tom. As with Tom, Gareza showed they have more than enough speed to fight with our well-established drivers. Showing great pace and keeping it clean, this driver will just need to ensure minimal track limit infringements to ensure a strong finishing position at our next race. Viatek Gamer has completed a few races with us now and is becoming a common theme with newly recruited drivers. This driver is straight in at the sharp end. We look forward to seeing what they can do in our race later today. Big Tonk finally bit the bullet and joined us in our Wednesday league races after a few outings with us in the Sunday friendlies. Just missing out on a point-scoring position. Can they break into the points at Singapore? We can't wait to find out. With this circuit being incredibly fast and allowing little room for error in between the walls, it could prove to be a very challenging event for our drivers. We wish our drivers all the best for Wednesday's race, and if you are watching this for the first time, and perhaps fancy taking part, please do follow the link to our Discord and social channels and come and be part of the one-of-a-kind G-Force Racing League. Let's go racing!
Dawlings GFR Digest.
Well, thanks once again to M. Dawling for putting those words together for us. And we're going to continue to bring you those throughout the season as best we can. And whilst we have been listening to Matt's thoughts, I think I have been joined in the commentary box by a very special guest all the way from the US, David T. Good day to you. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, I can hear you. Sorry. I will be right back if you give me 2 minutes. I also need an invite, please.
I can get you into the game as well. Absolutely. Well, it's good that David's with us, so we'll give David a moment to sort himself out.
Thank you. I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can find David. David's not in my... I don't think David's in my list of friends. Let me have a quick look here. See if I can find him. Otherwise we'll get SS7 to invite him over. So let me just ping SS7 very briefly. And we'll get David T in for us as well. So you can see all of the action that's going to unfold in front of us, and let me bring up the calendar for us all. So we're all coming back after hopefully a very good, enjoyable Christmas break and New Year's celebration. I wonder if there's going to be some thick heads out there in our drivers. We shall see. So we are halfway through season 4 with round 6 there in Spa, being a fantastic race. I'm going to bring up a particularly special clip if we've got a moment to share that with you. But there's some amazing racing from last week around Spa. Now, helpfully, it would seem that SS7 can't invite David T either.
I am in.
You're in. Oh, that's good. Oh,
yes, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I need to add you to my list of friends in the game because I've lost you since I moved to PlayStation.
Yeah. It has been a long time since I've played this game also.
Well, Happy New Year to you, David. How are you?
I'm getting better. The year is starting slowly for me, but it's gonna get better. Been sick the last couple days.
Oh, man.
But I saw a great chance to be here today, have a little bit of fun watching these guys that I raced with last year around this time, actually, and watch them race again. Yeah.
When was your last race with the league?
Oh, season 3 Hungary. I don't remember. It was a March date, I want to say.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That time's gone quick.
It was still on F1 23. I have not done an official race on 24 yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it does take some getting used to, it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Compared to 23, for sure.
Mm.
Now, what I will show you, David, last week, I don't know if you were able to watch the stream live last week, but for all the benefit of everyone who's watching, I just wanted to share one particular moment from last week in Spa, which is the triple overtake from Mac T. I
did see that.
This is pretty special. So sit back and relax, folks, just for the next 10 seconds or so. Watch this from one of... we're just very lucky to have Mac T as part of the G-Force Racing League. Feast your eyes on this. Drop back from Mac T and Gareza, who are on those medium tyres. Let's get up to Mac T here. There's a real gaggle of cars coming down the Kemmel Straight. As Mac T has found a way through all of them up into second place. What an amazing overtake from Mac T. What a drive so far from Mac T. That's, I think, 3 cars in one move on the Kemmel Straight. Incredible driving from the McLaren. That was just fantastic.
Yes, it was.
If there's a driver in this league that can pull off that kind of overtake cleanly, it is most definitely Mac T. So congratulations to him, and it was very good to have him back, albeit that the McLarens had a bit of a dreadful start with both Mac T and Ghosty coming together in La Source on literally the first corner of the first lap.
Yes, that was a very interesting race, and I thought my man was finally going to do it. I thought Hannes was going to get him a podium, and then it just didn't go his way on that last lap.
It really did.
Oh, I was rooting so much for him.
He was right on the edge of getting that as well. Very close battle with him, Graze, Obo, and SS7. But it just didn't work out for Hannes. He's actually done the hard bit of getting past Gareza, but then lost the car on the exit, I think, of turn 5. So
yes, and then, yeah. Well, Singapore brings back great memories to me.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. We will come back to the results of Spa after the race, but I see the drivers have all readied up. So let's play the intro, and we'll see you in Singapore very, very shortly. See you in a moment. On the inside of Cox, SS7 goes with them. It's wheel to wheel as we head down towards Vale. 3 cars wide coming down the strip. Racing. Well, here we are in Singapore, looking at the garages under the lights here in the pit lane as the first of the Ferraris heads out there. And David, I don't know how closely you've been able to follow season 4 so far, but have you had a chance to feast your eyes on Daddy Tonk in particular and how he's gradually improving week on week?
Honestly, I wish I had more time, but I have not. I try and make sure to watch every race full through every week, but it's just I've been busy lately. And I still enjoy watching these guys race every week because it is some fun to watch it.
Yeah, well, it really is. So keep an eye. I'll do my best to kind of bring you up to speed on a number of these guys that we now have out here. They've got some new names as well. A couple of extra drivers for us this week. Mad Mac Trixie and RWeb 15 there. 2 news. And Roy De Boy as well. So, and Lejeune and Hommel. Okay, so we've got a real, got some well-established drivers and some new ones as well. So we'll see where these guys slot in. Last week we had some new drivers in Gareza, who is back out this week. Driving for Sauber, and Tom, 1998, who just blitzed everybody last week in Belgium. He was pretty spectacular. So some good new drivers announcing themselves to the league, but I think they're going to have their hands full here around Singapore. And I remember racing with you, David, I think in an Ironman around Singapore. How do you find this track?
It's actually an enjoyable track in my opinion, but you have to be careful with those walls because stats guy coming out in me a little bit. This is the only place I've ever DNF'd in all of GFR because I had a little bit too much fun hugging the wall.
That's absolutely true. You get it wrong round here and that's it. That could be the end of your race. So our drivers have got to take it careful. I'm staying with Daddy Tonk at the moment. We'll have a first hot lap round Singapore with Daddy Tonk, who's basically, I think he's scored in the last 3 races after a pretty tough start at the beginning of the season. So Daddy Tonk trying to set their first fastest lap round here. I've got the results from the last time out, David. So in season 1, you finished 7th. Do you remember that?
Yes, it was a wet race for part of it. It was an interesting one.
It was a race.
To try and
second half of the race, that rain came down and gave us some brilliant racing, but I think it kept you all on your toes.
Yeah, it definitely was, and it was one of those where there was an early safety car. Surprised I remember this. There was an early safety car where you had a chance to pit for fresh tires, and it was the option to go for, but with how close the rain was, a lot of people didn't take it. And so he lost a lot, but then when the rain came, just people started dropping left and right. It's a lot trickier in the rain.
It definitely is. I think that was another one. MVR J Repo was doing very well and then made a mistake, lost their front wing, and it was SHS Predestinato that won.
It was.
In the end on that one. So the highlights, folks, if you ever want to see any of our previous races, and they're all worth watching, they're all on my YouTube channel, and I had to go back and see what that told us about Singapore Season 1. So we've got some times coming in now. Jakob, previously known as Decivest, setting the fastest lap so far, 126.724. Mad Mac Trixie, who's brand new to the GeForce Racing League, 127.706. RWeb 15, setting 128 dead. Riotech Gamer, who I've been impressed with in recent races, 128.523. Daddy Tonk, who we were on board with, set a 129.048. And then their teammate, Big Tonk, a 130.150. The Aston Martin boys are also out as well. M. Dorling, who puts those the GFR Digest together for us every week. M. Dorling's had some in and out races. David, I don't know if you saw, he won a couple of weeks back, and then then last week in Belgium it all went horribly wrong.
Yes, he did put a comment in there. He had some unfortunate luck last week where a driver ahead of him had a illegal overtake, and needed to slow to let that person pass. And unfortunately, when they slowed, M. Dorling was unfortunately right behind him and got some wing damage from it. So a little bit of unfortunate luck going his way, but if anybody will bounce back, he will. He definitely has some serious pace around here.
And they know how to play the long game. I put M. Dorling, Mac T, and a couple of other drivers in that category who just can read a race, and they don't necessarily go full throttle straight away. Well, M. Dorling is going full throttle right now as they come around the final corners here and sets the third fastest lap time of 126.996. Victor from last week, Tom 1998, also has a good time on the board of 126.921, but M. Dorling and Tom very competitive, but everyone 2/10 off of our current pole sitter Jakob there in first for Mercedes. M&D Hammer gets a time on the board of 127.251, as does Gareza. The two Saubers, 6th and 7th. There at the moment. SS7, our league owner, has a time on the board of 128.226. He was telling me just before the race that he's not done any practice at all, as I suspect a number of drivers have been otherwise occupied over the last week or two, I suspect. How was your Christmas, David? Did it go well?
It was great. It was great. I got to spend a lot of time with a lot of family, a lot of family that I had met for the first time in over 20 years. So it was a very interesting time for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's one of the best time of year for all of that kind of stuff. Roy the Boy will set to 126.880, so everyone's gradually getting closer to Jakob. Let's get down to, I'm coming down to, Obo didn't set a time, so they came out but didn't set a time.
No, him and Imaleki both invalidated, and my best friend, Hannes, has also pulled an invalidation himself now.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up my track map.
But I had to keep my eye on him. You know, he is very infamous for his reset to tracks.
Indeed. And we do have the tracker still enabled. So
that is good to hear. Very good to hear.
But he's, I tell you what, Hannes has really improved in recent, this season in particular. He's been so quick. He's always had pace, but it's been a little bit, I'd say, and hopefully he doesn't take this the wrong way, but not quite as controlled. But now he really seems to have settled in now.
Yeah, he is definitely one of those. He's had great pace. He challenged me all the time when we were teammates, really pushing me to do better and do a lot more. In fact, helped me out a lot with setups to get some of those lucky results that I did. But it's just one of those you have to be all around to really show your worth in this league. He's definitely improving greatly in this.
He definitely is continuing to drive for Haas. So David T's ex-teammate still out there. So Hannes yet to get a time on the board, but he's on a lap. No, he's invalidated again. So
yeah, he's fixed to start a new one by the looks of it.
Yeah, it does look that way. Emeleki did get a time on the board, 127.809, just behind Jaguarpour for Williams, 127.774. Jakob's time still holding good, provisional pole at the moment with 9 minutes of qualifying left to go. David, you remember from qualifying here, it gets super busy out on track towards the end, though, doesn't it? It's so
yes,
tight.
It does. It's very important to try and get that time in early because you may run into some traffic later. It's a short track. It's a street track. Need to make sure you get those maker times in early.
That reminds me, I was a quick look at my timing screen. You've got a sense of the weather. It looks as though qualifying is going to stay dry. We'll see if any of our drivers give us a clue as to what they've seen on their from their pit crews in terms of what the race may hold for us. Mr. Hannes trying to get a time on the board. They're still all clear so far. Their track map has not gone red, so we know they're good. DRS here in, I think that's the second of our DRS zones. A tricky corner there, coming into 14. Then the sweeping 15. They've got their teammate in front of them, of Rytec Gamer, coming around the final corners of the lap through 16 and 17. Then the fast 18 and 19. Stay within track limits there, Mr. Hannes. And Mr. Hannes
11th on scrub tires too, which is important to note. He had already failed a lap before that, so there's definitely some pace there that I think he'd have.
definitely half a second available there to hand. There's a 127.9. That's.
I think it could be as much as a second, realistically,
you could well
that
be
he
right.
has there.
Could well be right. This is Obo. We're with now coming through the final quarters of that 127.3 for Obo, moving them up into provisional 7th. So these times starting to come down, but as yet, at least. No one yet able to take Jakob off of that top spot. I'm with Hommel, 26. So standing in for our current championship leader, Goat Ghosty, in McLaren. So they're driving alongside Mac T today. Got to ask you this, David. From the races you have seen, Goat has been really impressive, hasn't he?
He really has. His pace on controller is so good, and hearing that he made the switch to wheel partially through the season, I'm waiting to see. It's not going to take him long. Knowing how he is, it's not going to take him long to get up to speed, and if not, surpass his controller pace on that wheel, and I think he's going to really go for it then. He's still in this championship fight, as much as we may not, even though he's not here, he could still very much be in this championship fight. So...
I think he could still be leading today, depending on how Jakob does, although Jakob's put a good marker down. So we're with Hommel 26. So this is Goat Ghosty's replacement to McLaren for today, aiming to get their first time on the board. They're really throwing this McLaren around very aggressively, so hopefully that's going to work for them around here. It's certainly going to be punishing those soft tyres, which will be screaming towards the end of this lap, and I think that's Hommel going a bit too wide there. Looks as though the game's a bit generous. We're heading towards the wall. I don't know if you're watching Hommel there, David, as I am.
No, I've hopped over to Mr. Mac T, relative staple of this league. He's going quicker. I don't know how much he's going to improve, but he's definitely going quicker.
127.112 currently for Mac T. Keep an eye on that time to change, folks, as we're sticking with currently a teammate of Hommel 26 here, trying to get their first time on the board. The lap is still good, but I think they're going to need to be a little bit neater.
There it is.
There it is.
I knew it was a good one shaping up. And correct me here if I'm wrong, Mac T has still yet to win an elite race, correct?
I believe you're right. I'm just thinking back. It was so
I know he won the
close.
Ironman so many times and has many, many second places.
I think you're right. I'm going to double check.
I would love to see him take that victory here today. Let me knock on some wood because I don't want to spoil it before he even gets that far. But if anybody's due a win, this man is due a win in this tier of racing.
Definitely shown the quality to be able to do it. I just headed down to RWeb 15, who was trying to improve a 127.934, but is invalidated and headed in to the pits. So no improvement for them. Let's go to the other Ferrari of Big Tonk here. So newish driver to G-Force Racing League, has spent some time with us on Sundays in the friendlies. Very nice person to race with. Gradually trying to find their way. Looks as though they've invalidated as well, but this could be this is I think their this is their fast lap, but unfortunately they may have to go again. We've got just under 4 minutes of qualifying left to go. The only driver yet to set a time is Lejeune, so I don't think they are going to get one on the board. So perhaps they're just going to go for a last to first challenge in the race. And I've just got a message from Obo. So we've been doing this thing this year, season, folks, where we've been going into some of the drivers' garages when there's been a gap in the qualifying or during the race under a safety car. And Obo's just warned me that there are some very unfit drivers there at the moment. I think having enjoyed their Christmas festivities, finding Singapore physically demanding, David. I think they're struggling a little bit in there. So,
this track is physically demanding no matter what you use to drive. It is a grueling track that takes a lot out of you to really do it.
Well, I know in the real world, this is an official stat, I think a driver loses about 3 kilograms of body weight just because of the physically demanding nature of this circuit in the real world. Now, obviously, we're in the virtual world, but many of our drivers who are on wheel in particular will be feeling it come the end of this race, no doubt. No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So, Big Tom.
So a quick note in terms of your championship.
Mm-hmm.
Goat Ghosty is still guaranteed the lead of this championship, regardless of the finishing positions, as he is 30 points up.
There we go. All right.
So he will still be leading it.
Yeah. So we'll see if anyone can close that gap down. And actually, I can bring it up on the screen here, folks. I can show you exactly what those driver standings are. So Goat on 106, Decivest on 76, Obo very close behind in third on 75. So I think Obo and Decivest looking to take advantage of Goat's absence and get some big points on the board. So it's going to get tighter at the top, I imagine, today. But expect some DNFs and probably some safety cars today, David. What do you reckon?
With how close these walls are, there's a very good chance of a safety car. I'll also say this. It's a very tight contest, in my opinion, of most improved driver this year between Jakob and Obo. They are both very, very much improved upon since I was racing them.
Oh, for
Their
sure.
pace has surpassed mine for sure, and it is very, very nice to see.
Well, Obo also made the switch this season to wheel, 2 or 3 races in, and he was saying, he was finding it a little bit tough initially, but his pace has really come on over the last 2 or 3 races as he's got used to that. And that's been showing in the recent results, including a third last week in Belgium. So, I think Obo, as long as they can keep it nice and clean today. We're on the last minute of qualifying here, so our drivers looking to set some final times. Jaguar Paul set a 1:27.504 there, so there's, I think, improved on time, but not their overall position. Obo is out. We were just talking about them. Let's go to the front end here. Let's see if Jakob can improve. So Mac T took their pole position with a 1:26.666. So Jakob trying to improve by just over a tenth and a half here to see if they can take that back from Mac T. And Jakob is, David, another one of those drivers that was pretty much around the midfield, or there's an Alpine gone into the wall just behind Jakob there. So that would have been either Roy De Boy or Tom 1998. So that is not going to do any good for their time. Big Tonka's retired. But Jakob's done well so far, David. It's very quick. Perhaps a bit too aggressive at times, but it's certainly got a lot more pace now. As Jakob comes around
and
the
he
final.
snatches the top spot back. What is Mac T going to say in response?
Indeed. Let's get to Mac T. So Jakob does take...
He's improving.
1:26.500. Mac T's nearly 4 tenths up, David. Through
Yes.
Sector 2. So he's looking to steal that back from Jakob. It could be short-lived. At the front, Obo's put themselves in provisional third right now. So as we were just saying, Obo improving all the time. Can Mac T hold on to that 4/10 advantage that they got in the early parts of this lap? They're coming over the start-finish line now. Indeed, improves by 3 tenths, 1:26.370. Mac T's on a mission. Obo is currently provisional third. Roy De Boy was the one who we saw going on into the barrier there. So Roy De Boy getting out of the way. M. Dorling is the other driver on their way in. So, and Tom 1998 takes pole, 1:26.159. David, that's quick.
Yes, it is. This is going to shape up to be a great race by the looks of it.
As Roy De Boy
Also,
comes over the line with no front wing, so that's them done.
yes. Yeah. I brought this up about 2 weeks ago, I want to say, whenever I saw Obo got his podium in Belgium. Unfortunately, I had my lapse of memory, and he also got a podium earlier in the season. He is no longer the Nico Hulkenberg of GFR. That title is firmly bestowed upon my favorite person, Mr. Hannes now, very fittingly in a Haas.
Oh, well, very true. We'll see. Hannah's, let's run through the order here. So, Tom 1998 takes pole position, continuing their good form from last week in Belgium. They've got Mac T alongside them, battle recommencing at the front. Jakob there in third with Mad Mac Trixie. Well done to them on their debut visit to the G-Force Racing League in fourth. Then comes Obo alongside Roy the Boy. Then M. Dorling alongside M&D Hammer. Grazer alongside Lejeune, who did get a time on the board. Not a bad one at that, 127.335. That's our top 10. Jaguar Paul, Rytec Gamer, Emeleki, and SS7 qualified, David, there down in 14th. So not a good
That's
qualifier from SS7.
That's a shocker. Granted, he did say that he didn't have much practice coming into this, but that one is a shocker. I'm still sad about his consecutive race scoring streak. That was going to hurt for a while.
That is.
That was going to hurt.
Yeah, well, at least when they returned last week, they did score once again. But they do have that hole in their record now from the race before, sadly for them. Right, so we're waiting for our drivers to appear on the grid. I don't want to jump into a garage right now because we could be racing very, very quickly. David, who do you see winning this one?
I really Mac T win this race. I really do. But after Tom's lap, it's going to be a tough one for him. But I really want to see him do it.
I'm going to think I would. I don't want to jinx it, David, but I'd like you. I'd like to see Mac T win this. My logic is that if anyone can look after tyres over a long distance of this race, then I think Mac T might just sneak it. But we shall see. 5 lights are on. All right, folks, let's go racing for the second half of the G-Force Racing League Season 4. Tom 1998 has led us away. Jacob was trying to find a way around the outside of Mac T into turn 1. Hasn't made that one work. So Mac T's dropped back in behind them. Tom's got a brilliant start there. Pulled out half a second already on the field behind them. Jacob has slotted in behind Mac T. Mad Mac Trixie has gone with them. Obo there in 5th, followed by Roy the Boy. Then M. Dorling, then Grazer, then M&D Hammer and Jaguar Paul. So a good start there, David, from Tom, but Mac T didn't lose that place to Jakob. They can now settle into this race and try and hunt them down.
Yes, it'll be an interesting one. I just hope he can keep up with Tom here, because if he loses sight of Tom could run away with this one.
And Mr. Hannes is now moved up to 15th. So actually we were saying SS7 starting in 14th. They've already moved up 4 places into 10th. So good start from SS7 as Grazer's moved up a couple of spots. M. Dorling pretty much holding station there in 7th at the moment. We'll keep an eye on the yellow flags, which occasionally pop up. We'll probably see a few front wings go flying at various intervals during this race, but it does look as though Tom and Mac T already starting to pull away from the rest of the field. And David, how powerful in your view is DRS around here?
Oh, it can keep you in this race if you're able to stay close enough to it. That can drag you along. I think whenever I last raced here, that's what kept me in the top 10 for quite a while, was just sneaking off borrowing DRS from the guys faster than me and just trying to keep up. But it can be an important one. And these guys up front, they are really using their battery trying to get away. They really are.
They absolutely. I mean, Mac T's only just clinging on to the DRS of Tom, although they've dropped outside that 1 second, as has Jakob now. So Jakob is pulling along Mad Max, Obo, Roy the Boy, M. Dorling, Grazer, Jaguar Paul, SS7, M&D Hammer, Hobble, Emeleki, Mr. Hannes, really before we get another 1 second gap to our web. Emeleki, David, doing what he often does, starting on the hards when everyone else around him has started on mediums. Is that a good
It's a risky one. It's a risky one in my opinion, because with safety cars around here, you never know. You never know. It's a risky one, but it could pay off. You just never know. And I think Jakob here is going to be trying to push to stay in Mac T's DRS now.
He's done well. Actually, Mac T has dropped 1.5 seconds back from Tom there. So Mac T now being challenged by Jakob and Mad Max and Obo hanging on in there in 5th. Tom starting to set the pace here for everyone. It will be interesting to see how long these medium tyres hang on for. It's really only Emeleki, R-Web, Big Tonk and Daddy Tonk, so both the Ferraris going on to the hards. I think rightly so, if you're at the back, perhaps play the long game, see if the race will and your strategy will come to you. So no great surprise that runners towards the back end of the field are holding on. I've got a feeling McT may be charging his battery, although David, he's got to be pretty careful here because Jakob's got right on the back of McT very, very quickly.
Yes, but yeah, as we all know, the Singapore track is not an easy one to overtake. We all saw what Carlos Sainz did in 2022 to hold off everybody. It's a tough one to overtake on if you play your cards right.
We've got a yellow flag, one of the Ferraris in Sector 1. That was in Turn 1 as well. So that's Daddy Tonk having a moment. I think Daddy Tonk has actually already switched on to some brand new medium tyres. So
yes, he has pitted.
Yeah, must have picked up some damage somewhere for the Ferrari driver there. So they've got to go rethink that strategy now. McT is back on the pace, closing down that gap once more to Tom 1998, Jakob and Mad Max Trixie and Obo going with them, as is our new driver of Roy De Boy in the Alpine, which I'm on board with right now. Now, what do you think, David? Are you likely just to stick in the draft of these drivers in front and see how the race pans out?
Well, it's a battle of do I need to pass this person right now and potentially lose some time battling with them, or do I just take the pace that we have right now, keep going, try and branch out from the rest of the field before we start fighting? I think that's the debate a lot of drivers will be having right now, and that's why you may not see very many going for some overtakes for a little bit. It'll probably get busy right around pit stop times is what I'm expecting.
Well, there is a little bit of action going on between 13th and 14th. David's ex-teammate and Mr. Hannes is struggling on those medium tyres and is under a lot of pressure from the fast-charging Emeleki on those hard tyres. So Emeleki starting to get to grips with this game after a long absence from it and is putting the Haas under a lot of pressure. We'll have DRS on the Haas now. As David was saying, very difficult to get past, and they're on coming down towards turn 14 there, and there's another opportunity potentially into 16 if you've still got some battery left, but Emeleki thinking better of that, dropping back in behind the Haas, and will go again a little bit later on. But looks as though Hannes is struggling to settle in on this race at the moment. Jakob and McT though are getting very busy at the front. Jakob within a couple of tenths a moment ago there of McT. McT starting to lose a bit of ground once again to Tom 1998. So Jakob going well here, David, but not really disappearing off into the distance.
No, the top three are definitely pulling away from the rest of the grid, though. I will say that, and as I say that, Mad Max makes a move on Roy, so they may still have some fight in them back there. We'll see.
Obo dropping back there into sixth behind Roy now, and they've got their teammate of M. Dorling behind Obo. Garazer is there, as is Jaguar Poor, as is MD Hammer, and now SS7, who's dropped back briefly to 11th position, but they have made up 3 places from the start. Let's actually have a look at see the winners and losers so far. So the front 4, as you were at the start of this race: Tom from McT, from Jakob, from Mad Max Trixie. Then Roy De Boy up 1, Obo down 1, M. Dorling staying where they were in 7. Oh, as the Sauber of Mad Max loses it, and that opens up the door for Roy De Boy to come through. And it looks like Roy will hold on to that position from the Sauber of Mad Max Trixie. Got on the power a little bit too early, and that brings Obo into play and M. Dorling starting to get interested. SS7 up 4 places, Hommel 26 up 4, Mr. Hannes also up 4, so good start from those drivers. And then Big Tonk just really benefiting from the travails of their teammate Daddy Tonk, up 1 into 18th. David, I'm pleased we've actually got 19 drivers out there as well, so we've got a very full race.
It's a very packed race out there. And I think you're slowly starting to see these top 3 start really pushing that advantage that they have in pace right now. They're up to 3 seconds. I know there was that small mistake by the Sauber, but they're really starting to get away. And MACT is slowly catching back up to Tom here. He's dancing right outside that 1 second mark for DRS.
And that's one of the challenges around these really short circuits is these street circuits. You don't necessarily want to sit too close to the car in front for too long because that is going to hurt your tyres very, very quickly. But MACT is now within DRS, and I think Tom had a moment coming out of the hairpin there and touched the wall very briefly, and I think that's played into the hands of MACT and Jakob here. So MACT really closing in. Jakob was having a look into 16 there, thinks better of it, tucks back in behind McLaren. Oh, yeah, and Tom has another big moment coming out of 17. I think Tom may have pushed too hard, David, too early.
Oh, it's starting to get spicy up here now.
But a big 3 second gap back to Roy de Boy as we saw Mad Max Trixie have a moment in the Sauber. Has allowed that 2.8 second gap to open up. So these three can really fight it out at the front. A really good battle at the front going on. But there's not a bad one here also between Alpine, Sauber and the two Aston Martins for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Lacrosse, thank you so much for following us here on M1 Racing. Good to have you with us. So we're on lap 7 of 31, so a very, very long way to go. We'll go back to the view of tyres. When do you think, David, these medium runners might start thinking about a pit stop?
Anywhere from lap 12 to 18 or 19 at the very latest. That's going to be really pushing it, though. 12 is really early, but theoretically, from lap 10 onwards, you could pit onto the hard tires and make it. May not be the fastest way, but as we all know around here, track position is king. So it'll be an interesting call for what these guys go for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at the lap times. So the fastest lap of the race was set by Tom very early on, 129.882. They're now all lapping around about 131 and a half. Although the last lap from Tom was a 132.5. Oh, that's the Sauber Mad Max Trixie going very sideways out of the last corner of turn 19. That's opened the door for at least one of the Aston Martins of M. Dorling. So, M. Dorling, David, we said he knows how to play the long game, starting way down, but now he's up into 5th already, taking advantage of Mad Max's slightly sideways action.
He's got a full battery, so expect him to be pushing hard to catch back up to Roy up here ahead. I would thoroughly expect that to be the case here.
And it looks like Jaguar Paul making a move on Grazer. Looks as though they've made that one stick. SS7 also trying to find a way past the Sauber. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, and that was safety car. Safety car is out, and I heard a deep intake of breath from David T. Did you see what that was?
SS7, I don't know the full extent of what happened, but he lost his front left tire. He has DNF from this race. Yes.
SS7 is out. So that is a real shock. We're not the first ever DNF for SS7. I think we can remember one from a sprint race in Spa.
Whoops.
Yeah, we won't dwell on that, David. But
no, long in the past, but a funny moment now.
Indeed, that is the.
I'm very curious at the timing of this safety car who pits, because it's too long for these hard runners to pit on the mediums, but they need to do something. And what are the guys up front going to do? Well, and I think we're going to see a lot of pit stops by the looks of it.
They're all in. The front three are in. Tom, MACT and Jakob are all in. It's a long way to take hard tyres if you're not going to stop again. But I think you've got to take the gamble. I think those mediums were already feeling pretty horrible for Tom, and certainly from the way his car was responding. I'm not surprised by that. Mad Max has stayed out. Emma Leckie sadly has got a 10-second penalty for speeding on the pit day,
no,
which is going to hurt them. Although another pit stop will clear that for them later on in the race.
That wasn't a speeding penalty. It was a severe collision penalty. That's a weird one.
Good spot.
Yeah.
good spot. So let's go to penalties. Yeah, so Emeleki's got 3 seconds for track limits plus the other 10, as David correctly pointed out, for a severe collision. I don't know if they were part of the coming together with SS7 or just perhaps didn't slow down quick enough under the safety car, but that is going to hurt Emeleki later on.
I think we'll see him go ahead and pit and get rid of that no matter what happens here, just to try and change that on his time. That way he doesn't have to deal with that penalty later.
And he hasn't
the
got
best time to serve it would be during the safety car.
Yeah, he's got nothing really to lose here. He's in 16th anyway at this point, so he may as well come in, serve that, come out in 18th, 19th, and 18th behind.
And I want to add this. I think it really serves him best to serve it now, because with how far back Daddy Tonk is from the safety car, he probably can get it in this lap and only lose one position really to Hannes behind him. The other thing of note is who's in second right now.
Exactly.
This is going to really spice up the top of the order for a bit. On 8-lap old tires, probably going to be 10 or 11 by the time we get done with this. It's going to be very interesting.
I think could be the cork in the bottle here, and Makti and Jakob will be looking to get past that Ferrari as quickly as possible, because they don't want to get held up behind Big Tonk, who I'm sure they won't mind me saying not class themselves as a front runner here in the G-Force Racing League, but they're going to be under all sorts of pressure from the McLaren of Makti and the Mercedes of Jakob, and I dare say Roy Dubois might have something to say about that. This has brought M. Dorling right into play as well. I wonder if we could. If we got enough time to pop into one of the garages here. I'm just going to see, where are we about on the lap? What I don't want to do is disturb these drivers.
You should have enough time to get around before we get to the start.
I am going to head over. David, I have to leave you briefly as I do this.
No, that's okay. Do what you need to do.
Okay, I'm going to head over to the Ferrari garage and say a quick hello to the Ferrari guys. Hey, Big Tonk, Daddy Tonk's Mark here from the stream. Hope you're all well. Big Tonk, you're going to hold on to that second place.
I'm going to try my best.
You've got a fast-charging Makti and Jakob behind you, but I wish you all the best. Daddy Tonk, what happened at the start? We saw you pit. Was there some damage?
Yes, I had front wing damage on the front left. I was missing the end plate, so that kind of ruined my race. Luckily enough, this safety car has brought me back to it, and we'll see what happens.
And how are you generally finding Singapore? Is it as much of a challenge as you expected it to be?
Oh, I always knew Singapore was going to be horrible anyway.
Especially the amount of people we've got on track today.
It's busy. Yeah, 19 drivers out there. Well, sadly only 18 now. We've lost SS7 who DNF'd. So they lost their front wing hitting the wall. So you're just got to hang in there, I think. And we'll be watching with interest. Big Tonk, see if you can hang on to that second place. I'm going to leave you because I can see the safety cars coming in. But go well.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
We're out of there. Let me head back to David T in the main commentary box. So, David, I don't know if you're catching any of that, but just a quick chat with the two Tonks. And Big Tonk's got a big job ahead of them now, try and hold on to second place.
Oh, a massive job. I will also note our league owner, SS7, has sent me a video clip of what happened for him, and he just had nowhere to go. One of those unfortunate, just the Sauber ahead of him ran out of room, sliding around, and he had nowhere to go but into the wall. It's super unfortunate.
And we are back underway on lap 11 here. Tom has led us away, but Makti has pounced early into turn one on Big Tonk. So Big Tonk drops down into third. I don't think he'll be too surprised by that as this Ferrari gets spun around, or whether they lost it on their own. But sadly for Big Tonk, they're now back down in 17th. So getting swallowed up very quickly. So that's not worked out for Big Tonk in the way they would have thought. Mr. Hannes has left as well, David. So I don't know
he retired in the pit lane.
Ah, okay.
At the end of the safety car, he came in and retired right as we started to get back going.
So
At least-
Mac T is...
At least he did a very smart retirement there.
Yeah, so Mr. Hannes sadly leaves us, so we're down to 17 drivers here on lap 11. So Tom leads us away 1.8 seconds clear of Mac T, who is having got quickly past Big Tonk, is now being followed by Roy De Boy. Jakob has lost out there, David, down to 4th. I don't know if you saw what happened, but it looks as though Jakob did not have the best of restarts.
No, I'm wondering if he potentially got some wing damage from the Ferrari there. I'm unsure.
Well, let's have a quick look and see if we can see anything on the front of Big Tonk's car.
Something must have happened with Mac T there because he went a little
we've
wacky through the sharp right-hander, lost a spot.
And so Mac T down to
He's got his work
third.
cut out for him now.
Definitely has. So Roy De Boy's inherited second position as a result of that. So Mac T having a moment, dropping down into third. Long way still for us to go. We're not even at half distance at this point. We're on lap 12 of 31. Big Tonk picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And so that's Mac T in third, Jakob in fourth. M. Dorling is lurking there menacingly in fifth, with Mad Mac Trixie behind them. A couple of drivers out there with some track limit penalties. They won't be able to get rid of them at all. They'll be added on to our drivers' times at the end of this race. But it's looking good for Tom, David. He's stretched out over a 3-second lead already, and just got to keep hold of those tyres. And Mac T's got 3 seconds now.
Yes, that's a big shocker there. I think somebody you'll see make a move fairly soon would be Obo getting past the Sauber of Mad Max Trixie if he gets an opportunity. It's just tough with this DRS train that they are in.
There is no way through on Roy De Boy, it would seem, at the moment. But as we saw from Obo last week, if you play your cards right, let others keep it clean, don't pick up any track limit warnings, but you're staying in the mix, you can inherit a number of places at the end of this race. And right now it's looking good for Jakob, for M. Dorling and for Obo. Riotech Gamer, who we've not spent any time with just yet, but we'll try and get to them before the end of this race, has also picked up a 3-second time penalty. So
Obo's trying my classic strategy. As I jinx him as he gets a penalty there. My classic strategy of get towed along by somebody ahead and have less penalties to steal their podiums.
It's a classic strategy, and it usually works well, and it has worked well for Obo, but it's not going to work for them today. They are the next driver to pick up a 3-second penalty for track limit warnings. And folks, if you've never played this game before, you're wondering how you get those. The white lines you see around the edge of the track, if you put all 4 wheels over those 3 times, you will get a 3-second penalty immediately from the stewards. So this is looking good for Jakob and M. Dorling. It's looking very good for Tom 1998. Now 3.5 seconds out in the lead. And I think, David, people have got to get past Roy De Boy. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way for Roy De Boy, but I think we know that Maxi, Jakob and probably M. Dorling have a little bit more pace on the Alpine. But as you were saying with the Carlos Sainz example, it's so difficult to get past here, and somebody's probably got to be brave and just try and get past.
Yeah, and it's also a question of how much is Roy saving his battery right now, because he's got a large amount compared to Tom up ahead of him. Could he just be saving a little bit of pace and using it later? Is that the possibility here?
Well, it could be, and it's a long race, and that DRS or that ERS could be very, very valuable in the latter stages. It's used by Obo just a moment ago to get past Mad Max Trixie up into 6th. They're looking to get onto the rear end of their teammate of M. Dorling, 1.5 seconds back from them. But Obo looking like they've got some decent pace here today, even with that 3-second penalty. So not over for Obo just yet. Let me get a little bit further down the field. I want to give some time to some of our other drivers. The 2 Saubers of Mad Max Trixie and Grazer line astern here, very close now behind Obo, with Obo having just got past Mad Max. But Grazer, who was very, very quick in Spa last week, on for a podium if it were not for an unfortunate event towards on the very last lap, which meant they dropped back a little bit in the finishing order, but a very, very good drive from Grazer last week. They're hanging on to 8th at the moment, or more than hanging on to 8th. They're actually pressurising their teammate of Mad Max there in front. R Webb, 3 seconds back from Grazer, is under all sorts of pressure from M&D Hammer, Leisure 295 for RB, and Jaguar Port, and also Emeleki is there in 13th, as is Ryotech Gamer. Both Emeleki and Ryotech, both with track limit warnings. We think Emeleki has cleared theirs. Actually, let's just double check before I misquote anything. Yeah, so Emeleki did clear that 10-second penalty for them. So they're back in the fight here. All hunting down some final points. Remember, points for 1st through to 10th for all of our drivers. So points still up for grabs as we get close to the halfway mark. And if we get past Ryotech, we then come down 6 seconds back from Ryotech to Hommel in the McLaren here. And then the 2 Ferraris of Daddy Tonk and Big Tonk. And Big Tonk, who was in second on the safety car restart, but ended up pointing the wrong way, having come through turn 1. That is our running order on lap 15. Back towards the front of this race, with Roy de Boy now 4.2 seconds back from Tom. But David, really doesn't look as though Mac T or Jakob can make any inroads on them at all. They're driving a very, very sensible race, it seems.
Yeah, just as you were catching back up to the top of the order, you missed out on Mag T trying to get past Roy, but just went a little bit too deep into turn 5, turn 6, I don't remember the exact number. They entered the long DRS straight, and Roy had a nice switchback on him to keep ahead, but they lost a good 4 or 5 tenths of a second because of that.
And that would explain that gap that I was seeing. So Roy going well here, holding on to second, going very wide on the exit of 18 and 19 there. And so they're in danger of adding to their track limit warnings as they cut turn 1, as you'll see a lot of our drivers try an aggressive line through turn 1 to get the fastest route into turns 2 and 3. And indeed, we've got some more penalties coming through, so let's bring those up. So 6 seconds now for Roy de Boy, 6 seconds for Mad Max. Everyone else who's got a penalty has 3 seconds. So that's our running order for the final spots. Oh, and Maxi, I think that locked up into the back of Roy de Boy. That has spun Maxi around. That's promoted Jakob up into second and M. Dorling into third. David, I don't know if you got a better view of that, but it looks as though Maxi had to brake a little bit earlier than they were anticipating. Caught the back end of Roy de Boy, and that's definitely advantage to Jakob and M. Dorling.
I missed out on it just barely watching the battle between Obo and Gareza. But yeah, it doesn't look like he does have a little bit of front wing damage by the looks of it. He's missing his right end plate. So this is going to be very interesting for Mac T from here out. I really wish I had seen what had fully happened there. And another thing to note, Mad Max Trixie seems like he spun somewhere in that second sector over the Anderson Bridge somewhere.
And I think this is as much, and this track just takes it so much out of here. Mac T comes into the pits now. So Mac T is pitting, understandably, to get that front wing change. Front end grip round here is so important. I think he's thinking that is the more sensible option. Or David M. Dorling, I think, has played a blinder so far on the rear end now of Jakob. Others, if you like, getting out of their way. And M. Dorling's in the podium. This race could well be coming to the Aston Martin driver.
Oh, yeah, and with his teammate being the one behind him, this really sets him up well. He's got a very good chance of finishing second, no worse than third in this race. That's my betting line now is M. Dorling to get a podium. He needs to keep it out the walls to make sure that happens, though.
And there's a good battle going on between the other Aston Martin and Gareza as Daddy Tonk picks up another 3-second time penalty. So Gareza with no penalties at all, really hassling Obo here as they come past Raffles into the hairpin over the bridge. And Gareza with DRS now on Obo. Do they make a move into turn 14? No, they sit back in, and that DRS zone is just not quite long enough to get alongside your opponent. But they may have a little bit of a run now on Obo down towards 16. Gareza sitting in behind the Aston Martin one more time as they look to start out onto lap 19. That gap between Tom and Jakob is now out to 6.3 seconds. So Tom extending their advantage out front. Emdorling following close behind Jakob. Then 3 seconds back to Obo and Geraser here. M&D Hammer now up into 6th. They're benefiting from that coming together between Roy de Boy and Mac T. Mac T on some brand new medium tyres will definitely be taking them to the end, barring any further safety cars. As Geraser now has the outside and is through on Obo into turn 8 there. Very nice move from Geraser. Moves up them up into 4th. David, you may catch that if you've got the stream open or if you didn't see that on your own particular view, but a very good move from Geraser. Moves then up into 4th and he's moving away rapidly from Obo.
I think he's trying to get up there to try and fight for himself to get a podium here. The other question I got is, how far do we think Mac T makes up in this race now that he's pitted and got a new wing? Do you think it's possible for him to get back up into the points?
Well, a safety car will definitely give them an added advantage. They've got 27 seconds to make up to get to Emeleki. I think that will come down pretty quickly. I don't see Emeleki taking those mediums all the way to the end. They're 8 laps old already. So Emeleki will probably pit. But they're already closing in. I'm going to have a quick look at the lap times. And Mac T's purple in sector 1 already. So
I would not be shocked to see him get a fastest lap here.
That is going to be coming. I think Mac T will have the afterburners on right now.
He's already made up over 2 seconds this lap.
Yes, coming down that gap, hand over fist. So I can see Mac T finishing in the points, David, but podium's probably...
It'll be a good fight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's not making it back up. The 25 seconds is going to take him at least 8 laps just to catch up, in my opinion.
Well, we've got a sideways Geraser there. So Obo, as Mac T does instead set the fastest lap so far, 128.948. When that previous lap started, the gap was 28 seconds. It's now 25 seconds. So 3 seconds on Emeleki in 1 lap. The Mac T is coming for you, Emeleki. Keep an eye on your mirrors as Obo's trying to find a way back past Geraser. So Obo's not out of this either yet, David.
No, it's gonna be a good fight. I think he's gonna send it here. He does.
He
tapped the wall. Looks like no damage though, so he's gonna be able to keep going. But that definitely does hurt with those guys behind them coming pretty quick.
So Obo had a run on Geraser there, couldn't quite hold on through the corner, and that's let Geraser back through. But it's also helping Emdorling and Jakob continuing to stretch that gap now. 4.5 seconds from Geraser in 4th. Look out for M&D Hammer though, David. M&D Hammer is now nearly within DRS of Obo, so this could now become a 4-way battle very, very shortly.
I think he gets it here.
He does indeed. He does indeed. So M&D Hammer into the DRS range of Obo. And M&D Hammer I've been impressed with since they joined G-Force Racing. Had some good, strong point-scoring positions. Has shown some good pace as well. Not necessarily through qualifying, but definitely in the race. They know how to make their way around a 50% race for sure. So we'll see how M&D Hammer goes here. So Obo's got to keep an eye on their mirrors now as well, because M&D Hammer is looking to make their way through the field. The one advantage Geraser has is they have no time penalties, so Obo's going down the inside into the hairpin. Very opportunist move, and M&D Hammer's taken advantage of that as well. And M&D Hammer's through on Geraser as well. So Geraser losing 2 positions in 1 corner as Obo goes back.
It's not a corner you normally see some overtaking in.
That's a brave move from Obo. That's going to go on the clip reel. And now M&D Hammer's going through on Obo. So great drive from M&D Hammer. Locks up a little into turn 16 there, but is through into 4th place. So good drive from M&D Hammer. That lap's worked out well for the Red Bull, David.
Yes, it has. That's very, very nice from him. He's very happy about that one.
So, fastest lap remains a 128.948 from Mac T. Their last lap was a 129.4 4:87. Everyone else is doing 1:31s, 1:32s. So Maxi is closing down on the runners in ahead of them. Obo back through on M&D Hammer. What a cracking battle we've got for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th here. M. Dorling, I haven't forgotten about in 3rd spot ahead of us. But it looks as though M. Dorling keeping their powder dry, perhaps hoping for a safety car in the last few laps. Take advantage of that to try and leapfrog into 2nd place. But M&D Hammer slotted back in behind Obo here. Back round the hairpin one more time. Malecki picking up another 3-second time penalty. Let's bring up the time penalties because they are going to influence the end of this race. There's most have 3, but Roy De Boy with 9 now, as that just comes through.
That really hurts him in this fight up here in the top. These top 5 guys right here. He really is hurting from that penalty now. It's going to be tough for him to stay in the points.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would drop them down, although R Webb with 6 now, and Rytek with 3, Jaguar Paul with 3, Malecki there with 6. They may just hang on to a point. But yeah, that 9 seconds is going to hurt them, and they desperately do not want a safety car at this stage in the race, David.
No, they don't. And Malecki has gone into the pits. Unfortunately, has sped into the pit lane. But as we expected, he did. Yeah, he did. He did not take those medium tires all the way to the end. He pitted for a new set of mediums. He may give a try for a new fastest lap. And then gets McT one position closer to the points again, but he's still got a big gap to go.
21 seconds to 11th at the moment, another 4, nearly 5 to Jaguar Paul in 10th. It's looking like a pretty huge ask for McT to get it into the points after what was looking like a promising race for them. Jaguar Paul picks up another 3 seconds as well. So one of our new drivers, Lejeune, let's get down to the RB here in 8th. It has driven a clean race so far. No track limit penalties. Is in 8th. The driver in front of them, which they're within 3 seconds of, Roy De Boy, has 9 seconds we know about. So it's potentially 6th maybe on the cards for Lejeune here on their debut appearance with G-Force Racing. Gray's a very clean drive as well from them. They're still in 6th with no time penalties at all. Let's get back up to 2nd and 3rd. There was a brief yellow flag there momentarily, but that has cleared.
Yeah, for the Sauber, it's back going. Lost a little bit of wing in plate.
Was that Mad Max or Grazer?
Yes, it was Mad Max. Lost a little bit of his left end plate on his front wing in the 2nd sector. Oh!
Another yellow flag in Sector 2. That was one of the Ferraris, I think. Oh, we got a virtual safety car, not a full safety car, a VSC. So our drivers will have to drive to a Delta. We did lose Hommel.
I saw that one.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll reserve my opinions for that later, for what happened there.
Oh, so Mad Max disqualified, parked in a dangerous location. Did you see what? Can you describe what happened? Don't need to give an opinion on it, David, but did you see what happened?
It didn't even take the corner, just straight on.
Oh, man.
So I said to reserve it for later and let the FIA make their judgments of what happened there.
So Mad Max has left us disqualified on lap 23. So we've lost 4 drivers from this race. Hommel 26, Mr. Hannes, our league owner SS7, and Mad Max Trixie on their debut with G-Force Racing after what we have to say was a very good start for them. VSC, David, is not what Jakob and M. Dorling were hoping for. They wanted a full safety car.
No, but Thomas Pitt. Oh,
wow.
This gets interesting now. He's obviously going to go to a set of softs. No, a set of mediums, but he will come out in 3rd, but how much time did he give up for this?
Well, he was 6 and a bit seconds, I believe, in the lead.
And we're racing again.
We are racing again, and Tom is coming out in 8th spot. They've just given up a huge amount of track
that's
position.
A shocker. That is a shocker right there. There's no way they make that time up.
Now,
there's no way.
Yeah, they've just given up victory here.
Unless
it
he
would
had some
seem.
damage that I didn't know
Possibly.
about, but the pit stop was too quick to be for a wing change. I don't know what just happened there.
So Tom here in 8th position with Jaguar close behind the ball, I dare say, has just been passed. But whether or not, as David was suggesting, the Alpine had some damage, but it didn't look like a long enough stop for that, or just those tyres were completely gone. But they've given up track position, and Jakob now leads this race. Oh, and that's Gareza in the wall. That coming out the hairpin? It is. So that's Gareza in the Sauber in the wall, dropping them down into 9th. And they're going to have Rytec Gamer now right behind them. Doesn't look as though Gareza has any material damage to their car.
No, but Roy does now, and I'm wondering if something happened there. He's missing half a front wing just about.
I'm just coming up to Roy, and we'll see what. Yeah, they are. So big damage, and Roy is coming into the pits. So Alpine's race has gone from very good to very bad very, very quickly here, David.
Yeah. Now it's a battle for who will take this podium between M&D Hammer and Oboe, considering they both have a 3-second penalty. The two in front of them are guaranteed first and second at this rate, barring a crazy incident. But it's a wild one out here. Singapore always proves from wild races. And Mac T is back in the points.
He's there. He's got at least 1 point. And I've also got Hommel26 in the Twitch chat. Hommel, thank you ever so much for coming in and saying hi, but also letting us know what happened to you. So the internet kicked Hommel out of the game, sadly. So through no fault of their own, but unfortunately that led to Hommel's DNF. We've lost Big Tonk as well. So another casualty of this Singapore Grand Prix. 5 drivers out now on lap 25. I'm with M. Dorling, who is looking to get into DRS of Jakob and perhaps take victory here, their second victory of season 4. Jakob looking also for their second victory of season 4 as well. Oh, back end of the Aston Martin stepping out on the exit of turn 19 there. So both drivers 17 lap old hard tyres, and it's going to be a battle between Mercedes and Aston Martin for the final 5 laps of this race. Well, 5 plus this one.
I think we may have a surprise podium stealer in Tom. I think he may get back up to these guys to take third, but I just don't think he has enough time to close back up to the leaders.
128 dead for Tom on that last lap, fastest lap of the race. They'll give him an extra point as well if they hang on to that. And we have a safety car, David, on lap 26. Lap 26.
Wow.
Now.
You will probably get 2 laps of racing here. But with all these penalties, oh wow, is this really going to shake it up? This is not what Jakob and M. Dorling wanted to see, was a safety car 5 laps from the end.
We have no idea, folks, what caused that safety car, but we do have one. And so Jakob will... I've got to imagine Jakob and M. Dorling and M&D Hammer and Oba, they're going to stay out, aren't they? They're not going to pit now.
Oh, I don't know. It's a very tough call of what you do here. For the top 2, I'll say this. If M. Dorling stays out, Obo stays out. I know that will happen because Obo is the only thing between Tom and M. Dorling.
They're
and
coming in.
Tom
David,
trying to get back.
Jakob and M. Dorling
wow.
are in. So obviously a much shorter. You don't.
They
lose
may
as
have
much
enough of a
time.
gap.
They may do. So Jakob
I think
is
everybody
in.
may come in at this
Soft
point.
tyres, most definitely for these drivers. Also, the opportunities for an extra point. 10-second penalty for Obo.
Oh, that's
man.
killer.
That's going to hurt Obo after what was looking like a really promising race for them. So 10 seconds for Obo. Jakob, are they going to hold on to the lead of this race? Tom is also in, David. So Tom didn't even think about staying out. So everyone has pitted that was in the top 10 pretty much. I wonder what Mac T does here.
He's pitting.
He's pitting.
He's pitting.
He's pitting.
Hell, at least go for fastest lap here.
So this is going to be, we're going to have a 2-lap dash, I think. The game, correct me if I'm wrong on this, David, I think the game always brings the safety car in 2 laps before the end, regardless.
Well, I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so because I would love to see this finish under green. I don't want an Abu Dhabi 21 incident here. But a thing of note, M&D Hammer went to medium tires.
Unless it didn't have enough softs, which
I would still
be.
think of a scrub set of softs, even 1 lap used softs for 4 laps. Realistically, 2 racing laps would be faster than a set of mediums. Hey, I haven't driven on this game, so maybe I don't know. I give them the benefit of the doubt, but I really would have thought softs would have been the way to go here.
Well, this is interesting, folks. Let me give you the running order on lap 27 of 31. There's no way I'm going into a driver's garage now, folks. This is going to be too tense for them to talk to me, and I don't want to distract them. So we've got Jakob leading the way. Brand new soft tyres for them. M. Dorling in second. We'll actually bring up the winners and losers while I go through this. So Jakob up 2 places from the start of this race. M. Dorling in second, 5 place improvement for them, as has M&D Hammer in third. Obo up 1 is going to be the rear gunner for M. Dorling, trying to hold up Tom 1998, who probably wishes they didn't pit onto those mediums when they did, and they could have just held out a little bit longer. It's always a gamble, but giving up that track position has probably hurt them. Lejeune and Jaguarpour up 4 places each. Grazer up 1, and Riotech Gamer up 3, benefiting as they've done from the last race where people had penalties and they ended up further up the grid. So it's working out well. And Roy De Boy currently in 10th, but penalties are also important.
Yeah.
Bring those up. 13 seconds for Obo. M&D Hammer in front of them has 3. Lejeune with 3. Jaguarpour with 6. 3 seconds for Riotech and 3 seconds for MacT. 25 seconds for Roy De Boy. So they've got to be careful. And there's something going on between MacT, R-Web, and various drivers swapping places with MacT. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I think somebody may have.
Yeah, I've been watching it. I've been watching. I'll talk with you after the race about it.
Yeah, it looks as though some goings on, but MacT's back into 10th spot there, with Roy De Boy with 25 seconds, R-Web with 6, Daddy Tonk with 3, and Empaliki with 6. So Obo is going to drop back massively, possibly out of the points here for them. M&D Hammer is looking over their shoulder at Tom. Have we lost someone else? No. Okay, so Roy De Boy's got another 10-second penalty. They're up to 35 now.
I saw what happened there.
Okay, so Roy De Boy,
I'll talk with you after the race.
yeah, something obviously not quite right there, but the safety car is in this lap. We're going to focus on the front of this
3
race,
laps
folks.
of racing.
3 laps of racing, as David says, to decide the winner of the Singapore Grand Prix to start the second half of Season 4 of GeForce Racing. As always, Singapore has delivered surprise and drama, as well as some pretty decent racing throughout. It's going to be Jakob to lead us away, but M. Dorling's going to try and find a way past the Mercedes. M&D Hammer is going to try and hold up Tom, who has got past Obo already. I thought Obo was in front of Tom, so something must have happened there. I thought Obo would be holding up Tom, but that's not happened. So we're going to come round the final corner. I think Jakob has gone. So away we go on to start, lap 29 of 31. M. Dorling has had a pretty decent start as well. Everyone's pretty much gone at the same time here. So M. Dorling in the slipstream of Jakob, trying to find a way through to get a second victory of Season 4. Jakob trying to find their second victory of Season 4 and close down that gap, importantly, on our championship leader, Goat Ghosty. That points gap, as David said earlier, at 30 points. With Goat Ghosty not racing today, that could close that gap down hugely, as Tom is through on M. Dorling. We mustn't count out Tom from the victory here either. None of these front three drivers have any penalties, David. So Tom is back into play. And Maxi has retired.
Yeah, I saw what happened.
Okay. So no points for...
We'll leave that alone for now.
Okay. So I think the FIA is going to be a little bit busy here tonight. I think there's an Alpine sideways in the background. That was Roy de Boy, a 30 with 38 seconds worth of penalties for them. I'm staying on. And we've lost Lejeune as well, who's DNF'd. So our drivers falling like flies here at the end of this race. But
I think he may have pulled a me.
Just found the barrier. And Dorling.
Maybe, unless I missed something else.
I'm going to go on board with them. Dorling, they're looking down the inside of Decevest into turn one. Drops back behind the Mercedes. Decides not to go for it. There, Jakob defending stoutly as they try and hold on to the lead. Just one more lap to go after this one. Tom is right behind M. Dorling as well. So the Alpine trying to get back from their couple of certainly one unexpected pit stop from our perspective at least. So Tom trying to get back in the front of this lead. M. Dorling going down the inside of the Mercedes as they come together very, very briefly. And Mercedes holds on to the lead. This is bringing M&D Hammer into play as well. So it's all to play for as we finish off the Singapore Grand Prix here. David, call it from here. Is Jakob going to hold on to this?
It's going to be a tight one. He's looking great on the battery. It's just all going to come down to if he can hold on to down this straight coming up and the main DRS straight. If he can hold on to it from there, he may have it. But he's got his work cut out for him.
It's going
to be a close one.
And don't count out Grazer for fourth place here. They have no track limit penalties at all. And M. Dorling is now under a lot of pressure on the Alpine of Tom behind them. Daddy Tonk picks up 3 more seconds to go onto their tally. So it's Mercedes from Aston Martin, from Alpine, from Red Bull, from Aston as we start the final lap here in Singapore. It has not failed to disappoint once again here. Can M. Dorling find a final way through? But they've got their mirrors absolutely full of the Alpine of Tom there in third. M&D Hammer is not going to have a say on the podium here with the 6-second time penalty. But M. Dorling is under all sorts of pressure from Tom there in third. It's very, very close from the Alpine. But the Aston Martin is hanging on to second spot, having to drive very, very defensively. We get another yellow flag in sector 1. And that's Tom going sideways. And that's allowed M&D Hammer back through into third spot. They have that time penalty, remember. But that's put Tom out of the reckoning here from taking second place. M. Dorling hanging on to that now 8/10 back from the Mercedes. Is Jakob going to hold on for victory here? M&D Hammer looking racy at the very end of this race, even though they've got that time penalty. M. Dorling may let them go because they don't need to fight them necessarily. But those soft tyres perhaps gone already on these front runners. M&D Hammer has a lot of pace here, but a 6-second time penalty. M. Dorling is now 1.3 seconds back from Jakob as Jakob comes around the final corners for the Singapore Grand Prix, and Jakob is going to come over to win in Singapore, round 7 of the G-Force Racing League. M. Dorling finishes second, Tom finishes in third, Grazer finishes fourth, M&D Hammer in fifth. Obo is dropping down as their time penalties are applied. Jaguar takes sixth, Riotech came a seventh, Obo eventually finishes in eighth. Daddy Tonk picks up points once again in ninth, and then R-Web in 10th. Emelecki and Roy de Boy yet to come over the line as Emelecki looks at all parts of the Singapore circuit on the final corners of the lap and is going to reverse over the line for us. A backwards facing Red Bull there, and that leaves Roy de Boy as our final driver to finish. David, the usual question at the end of a GFR race, who's your driver of the day?
I got to give it to Jakob here. Start to finish, kept it clean, stayed out, way ahead, raced really well, and took the win today where it may have not been expected, especially with how far Tom was ahead at one point.
I'm going to agree with you, David. It's Jakob for me as well. They played their cards absolutely right. There was a lot that happened there. The game has given it to Grazer. I'm not surprised at that either. From a lowly grid place start to finishing in fourth. Very good drive from them. Also, well done to M. Dorling. And Tom, 1998, gave it a very, very good go at the end there, but couldn't quite find a way through on the Aston or the Mercedes. So congratulations to Jakob. They're on the top step, picks up another victory for them, and will close that gap on Goat Ghosty for the lead of this championship. The fastest lap, extra point, is going to go to Tom. So congratulations to them with a 1:28.010. So a very good drive from them. Had the pace once again, but sadly did not make it through to take the win. So there's our final classification. Jakob takes victory in Singapore. M. Dorling on the second spot on the podium there for Aston Martin. Then comes Tom in third, Grazer in fourth, M&D Hammer in fifth. Jaguar consistently scores every week. Well done to them in sixth. Riotech Gamer once again in seventh. Oboe in eighth. Daddy Tog in ninth. R-Web in 10th. Final points finishing positions. David, if you want to follow me, we might be able to get into some of the garages. Oh, actually, it's just the Astons and the Ferraris are there. Oh, and let's go and talk to our Victor. You can, have you access to the garages, David?
No, I don't, but it'll be okay. You go ahead and go talk to them.
I'm going to go and talk to Jakob. Let me see if our race winner is available to talk to me. Hey, Jakob, it's Mark from the stream. How are you?
Oh, hello. Absolutely. I can't even speak right now. I'm so happy for this race. I'm absolutely cooked. It's so hot in this room.
Well, a brilliant drive from you, and it unfolded in your favour a little bit, although we were surprised when Tom came in for his pit stop. Did you have any sense that he picked up some damage, do you think, or tyres going off, or it played into your hands because you inherited the lead of the race?
Yeah, I don't understand why the box. I think he wanted to do something. I don't understand, because on that lap you should box for softs. But I don't understand why he did that, but...
Well, it worked for you.
Yeah, it worked for me, so I'm happy.
We had a lot of pressure there from M. Dorling behind you as well on those on that last safety car restart. How were you feeling? Was it you comfortable you were going to hold him at bay?
No, I was honestly scared of him overtaking me, but I somehow managed to do those 3 laps without any mistakes, and yeah, it finished.
Yeah, huge congratulations to you. I'll let you catch your breath, go and take a break, probably a well-deserved drink, and congratulations. And you've closed down the gap on your championship contender of Goat Ghosty by a huge number of points today, so well done.
Oh, thank you.
All right, see you for the next one. So let's go and have a quick chat with the Astons, and we'll see if any of them are actually still awake or alive.
Hello, Just.
Matt Owen, well done. Matt, second place for you. We wondered whether or not you'd find a way past Jakob at the end, but it wasn't to be. Did you fancy your chances towards the end?
To be quite honest, I'd spent the whole race saving my battery, thinking I might try something on the second last to last lap. But no, middle sector, he had a lot of speed, so it was just hard to get close enough to put myself in that position. But happy, very happy. This is not a strong track for me. So yeah, very happy with that result.
Yeah, well, I'd beg to differ on that statement based on that performance, but very, very good. Obo, it was looking like it was going really well for you for a large chunk of that race, and then that pit speeding penalty at the end really did you in, unfortunately.
Yeah, disappointed. That's it, really.
Yeah, well, you did still pick up points today, so it wasn't a complete disaster, and it was looking like a very good considered drive from you once again. Would you both be looking forward to doing Singapore again at some time?
Given the result, yes. The track, maybe not.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right. Well done, guys. Thanks for talking to me, and congratulations on 2 points finishes again, and another podium for Aston Martin. So good race. Well done, guys.
Thanks.
Let's go and have one last chat with Daddy Tonk, if Daddy Tonk is still there. Daddy Tonk, can you hear me?
I can, Mark.
Well, congratulations. A point scoring position once again for you. It looked like you just had to see that race through in the end. And your teammate definitely lost out on that first safety car restart, unfortunately. Do you have any sense of whether or not he was pushed around or did it on his own?
I believe he spun on his own, Mark.
Oh dear. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
One of them
unfortunate.
things where you run out of talent. Yeah.
I know that feeling all too well.
Yeah, no. It was a very hard thoughtful race. I mean, I think I pitted about 4 or 5 times in the end. I was just hoping for a bit of luck, and obviously another safety car come out. So I did have a little bit at the end where I had a wobble myself, and if I'd have hold on to that, I think my teammate himself, he worked it out. I could have came 6th, but because obviously I had the wobble, I ended up with P9. Yet again, that's points, so I'll take that.
Absolutely right. Well done once again. More points in the bag for you and Ferrari, and hopefully we'll see you for the next one.
You sure will. Thank you, Mark.
Have a good week. Take care. Bye.
And you. Bye.
We'll head back to David in the commentary box here and let us bring up the standings, because they are going to be significantly impacted by today's results. So Desaves will close that 30-point gap down to just 5 based on today's results. Obo picking up a few.
Yep.
But also M. Dorling there, David. I think they will leapfrog Pankadelek, and will they leapfrog?
Yes.
No, they won't get past Obo, but they'll be up into 5th. So
Maybe. No, I think they're too far behind to leapfrog them. But that Aston Martin teammate battle is going to start getting more interesting as the season goes on.
it sure will. It's looking very good in the constructors for Aston Martin. I've got the points as they stood before today's race. Not a bad day for Mercedes, of course. Maximum or 25 points from Jakob is going to move them above McLaren, with McLaren not scoring at all today. Aston Martin will also go above McLaren with Obo and M. Dorling's points. So I think it's looking like a 3-way constructors fight, David, for the rest of this season.
Oh, yeah, which is great to see. A great battle right there.
I am looking forward to the rest of this season. So where do we go next, folks? Well, if I bring up our calendar, we've just done in Singapore. What a way to start 2025. We are next going to be in Canada for round. Will it actually be race 8, round 9 overall? We've got the first round here was a friendly or a pre-season race, but we're going to be in Canada this time next week. A site of some very good racing in previous seasons. Highlights of Canada for you, David. Is there a track you enjoy?
It's actually one of the few tracks where I got a fastest lap in a race. Way back in season 1.
Wow,
that's pulling one out of the hat right there.
I did not expect you to say that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah,
It was only my second race ever, and it is one where Imalecki finished 3rd. So hopefully you get to see him higher up in the standings next week, because I know he loves that track as much as I do. It's a very fun track, but track limits, unfortunately, is another killer there with that wall of champion chicane.
Oh, yeah. We should expect a few more safety cars and a few more missing front wings next week. Another tight circuit, partially a street circuit, but very, very close walls around Albert Park there. So we are going to be in Canada next week, and then we will be in Italy for a sprint race in Monza. So definitely come and join us for the next few weeks here on GeForce Racing. We'll find out whether or not GOAT will be back to try and defend their lead in the championship. Will Jakob get even closer, maybe even take the lead in the championship, or will we see the Astons continuing to improve, pick up those points, and maybe Enduring make a challenge for this championship of season 4? The only way you'll find out, folks, is come and watch it here on M1 Racing. I'm going to close here firstly by thanking David T for coming to join me in the commentary box. David, thanks so much for being here. Have you had a good time?
I have. It's great to come through and join the commentary box every once in a while. I know my appearances are very sporadic, but I try and make them worthwhile when I do come and give us some enjoyable racing commentary.
Well, you did a great job, David. Always fantastic to have your insight here. And I think you and I may be a little bit busy later on as we see various incidents reported to the FIA, but we'll see about that.
We shall see.
We shall see. My thanks to all the drivers for giving us another fantastic round of racing with G-Force Racing. And last but by no means least, to all of you folks for watching here on M1 Racing. Thank you ever so much. Welcome to 2025. Thanks for being here with us on a Wednesday. And we will see you 8 p.m. UK time next week for Canada and the next round of the G-Force Racing League. Until then, stay safe and we will see you very, very soon. Bye for now.